Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our science experiment. The next several months, we are going to be observing decomposition in a couple different forms. But in order to do so, we kind of need to set one of these up because we are going to be observing how earthworms, or in this case, technically a type of earthworm called a red wriggler, you can kind of see one right there, help decompose a pumpkin. So I've got a little pumpkin. His poor little stem fell off, but that's okay because otherwise he'd be too tall for this. So we've got our pumpkin. I've also got a bag full of shredded, unbleached paper towels, because earthworms really like to eat newspaper and unbleached paper. And unfortunately, I couldn't get my hands on newspaper this morning, but after research with the specialist, aka my mom, she said that the paper towel should work just fine. So we have our terrarium. It does have a lid that will go on top of it that does have holes. So we're going to start by getting this together. Now I'm going to put gloves on just because I don't want to get dirt all over me. And we're going to start by mixing together our potting soil, which is just basic potting soil. I've got Jiffy natural and organic potting soil. I think I got it at Lowe's. You definitely, if you do this at home, you do not want any that has like the moisture control or anything like that, because it could end up hurting your earthworms. Which, by the way, if anybody has like coffee grounds that they'd like to donate, coffee grounds I've been researching earthworms really like, and it could keep them happy. So I'm going to start by pouring in a little bit of our potting soil. That's a good amount to start with. And a handful of our shredded paper towel. And I'm just going to mix this up. That's pretty good. Add a little bit more, and I'm just going to keep layering it like this until we get it to the consistency that we want it. We don't want to pack it in too tightly, because then your earthworms can't move around, and that would be really bad for them. So, whoop. My desk is going to be covered in dirt today, but that's okay. That's what happens in science. You get dirty. You get your hands dirty. What's the saying that Miss Frizzle says? Make mistakes, get messy. So yeah, we're definitely getting messy today. And I don't want to fill this too high, because otherwise our pumpkin won't fit in it anymore. There we go. That looks pretty good to me. So we're going to kind of, I'm going to make a little hole here. Let me get my potting soil out of the way. I'm going to very, very, very gently place our red wigglers. We've got some that are trying to hang on in the container there. There you go. Be free. Be free, my lovelies. Be free. I'm going to very, very gently cover them up. All right. And then for this next part, I'm going to need my screwdriver. So give me just a second, because I forgot to grab that. Because what we're going to do, we're actually going to kind of stab holes. Or actually, you know what? We'll just stab holes. We're going to stab holes in our pumpkin to make sure that our earthworms can get into it, because the skin is kind of rough. And if we gave it enough time, it would decompose enough that it would be soft for them to get to. But I don't want us to have to wait that long. So I'm going to take my screwdriver bit, and I'm just going to I'm having to put some pressure on this so I can understand why our earthworms may have a problem getting in here. Whoops. Only do this at home with parent supervision, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. So that should be pretty good. So we've got quite a few holes there. I'm going to put a couple where the stem was. The stem ended up breaking off, but that's okay. It was a really pretty stem. I may go ahead and lay it in here with it, but we're just going to set our pumpkin down right there. And once I get my hands on a spray bottle, we'll come through and every now and then we'll spray the top of the soil with water just so that it stays moist, because if that soil dries out, those earthworms are going to get sick and potentially die, and we definitely do not want that. So now we have our gorgeous earthworms in their new home with their pumpkin, and y'all will be doing observations of what is happening with the pumpkin. My goal is to also take pictures and create a page on our class website so that you can visually also keep track of it that way. And we will see what happens over the next few months. Now, the other way we're going to look at this our second pumpkin is a lot easier to set up. And actually, here's our poor little stem that broke off that one. So we'll just drop that in there. So there's our little stem. But our other pumpkin that we are going to watch is going to go into a Ziploc bag. Take the sticker off because we definitely don't want to be decomposing the sticker. And we're simply going to put it in the bag. I'm going to seal it up, and if you notice, I'm not taking the air out of it. I want the air to stay in the bag, and actually, I'm going to try and fluff this bag out a bit so that it has as much air as possible. There we go. That's better. So these pumpkins will be sitting side by side, and students will then get to compare this pumpkin's decomposition that's just by itself in a bag to the decomposition of the pumpkin that is set up with our earthworms. And hopefully they will be able to do observations, and we'll get to take pictures weekly minimum so that students can see over time how decomposition works. So thank you for joining us. I'm excited to see what our experiment brings. I'm just excited. This is fun. You should have seen me buying earthworms last night. I was like a kid in a candy store with a $100 bill. So thank you so much for joining me, and we will see you soon with updated pictures. Have a great week, everybody.